Happy Thursday, everybody. It's your girl, Adina, the goddess of magical movement. And I'm here with another edition of the Liberated Pussy podcast. Yes, yow, yow, yow. And of course, my dear sister, the Moon Mama, is joining us. What's up with the good girl? What's up with that? What's that about? So let's get Monique in here. You know how we do. We do our magic. Hey, I didn't even have to do magic long. I just put my fingers up, and there you were.
That's
I
right.
love it. Our magic is getting
Yes,
stronger.
it
It's
is.
getting
Yes, it is.
stronger.
How are you?
Welcome all. I am good, and I'm happy to be here with you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well. I'm well. I
You look
feel,
pretty.
thank you. I
Mhm.
feel alive. I do.
Good.
I feel good.
Good.
I do.
You got the scarf off your neck, you got your hair
Right.
done and your earrings on. I'm
Girl,
loving it. Y'all put some
the
hearts up for the Moon Mama.
the sun is out. Like
Okay.
it's been really so I feel winter is starting to recoil. I feel winter
Okay.
is starting to go away and I'm starting
Hmm.
to come back to myself. This has been a tough, an intense Virgo new moon full, like in Pisces season.
Hmm.
I have a lot of astrology in that, so I'm very impacted by that energy.
Ashe, I give thanks. I feel that too. I have a hibiscus plant that I had since last summer, and
Hmm.
I love hibiscus, and I always try to bring them in and have them throughout the
Hmm.
year. But coming in the house, hibiscus like it outside. In LA, you probably get to keep them year round. So I was looking at her today, and she was all dried up, and I'm like, "Listen, you almost made it. We got a couple more weeks, and you can go back outside. Just hang in there with me, sis." I gave her some water. I'm like, come
That
on,
is so funny. I have seen you with your plants before, like when you were here, because
Mm-hmm.
right now we have a whole bushel of um, the birds of paradise. Like I remember you were like, "Look at you got all this." Yes, we have.
Got birds of paradise just in your on your wall in your alley, just walking around, taking them for granted. And for me, birds of paradise and calla lilies were the flowers I had in my wedding. Like I
Yeah,
held those, and I
yeah,
just love them for the unique beauties that they are.
yeah.
And in LA and in tropical places, you literally get that every day. But here on the East Coast, where we get show enough winter, those things got to be shipped in from places
Yeah.
tropical and places like LA and such.
Yes.
So yeah, I was picking flowers off the trees, walking down the street. I'm like, yeah, look, I'm coming. Put it in my hair because I just love it. I'm a flower girl, y'all.
Yeah.
I really am.
It was so cute to see it. I was like, oh, they don't have flowers like that. But
I like
I've
that.
spent a lot of time in DC, so I understand. And so,
Yeah,
yes, you
yeah.
and your flowers and we, I had a hibiscus tree and it died. It
Okay.
literally, and it was because the birds were in it all the time. Like
Oh
they just
wow.
woe it down,
Oh my
girl. She was like,
goodness.
I ain't got
I
no more.
can't
I'm dry.
do it. I can't. Bye, bitches. I'm
Yes.
out. Well, thank goodness for the tropical places who
Yeah.
bloom and grow these things all the time so that those out east can have it and
Yeah.
appreciate it when it's our
Yeah.
time. When it's our time.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So folks are hopping on. Thank you for those who have joined us today.
Mhm.
Introduction. I'm your
Yes.
girl, Adina, the goddess of magical movement.
Mhm.
One thing that I absolutely love is moving my body.
Mhm.
Moving my body brings me so much joy that I can't even put into words. I can dance things I cannot say.
Mhm.
uh, Moving my body is, like I said, is everything. And so I do that with ladies and men all the time. Dancing is my jam. I am the co-founder of Belly Dancers of Color Collective. We have classes here in the DC area, weekly, private events, and so on and so forth. And with the Moon Mama, we
Mhm.
have the journey or the task. Spirit has tasked us with the journey of
Mhm.
walking the goddess path for ourselves first, but opening those up to this knowledge who are open for it.
Yeah.
Having these conscious conversations that really anchor us into who we were born to be, what this lifetime is about on this
Yeah.
teaching planet called Earth.
Yes.
So we have the Goddess Technology Retreat Bali, which I'm telling y'all publicly is fully sold out.
Sold
We got 2 weeks in
out.
Bali. Sold
Yes.
out. We are taking ladies for our mail list now. And of course, our next retreats that are coming up. This is just the beginning of our international retreats. So that is one thing that we do where we'll be doing this work in person. The rituals, the expansion into goddess energy, the rewilding sacred movement,
Mhm.
all of that beautiful stuff. And of
Yes,
course, the moon work, connecting with the cosmos and understanding that we're not separate. We really
that's
aren't.
right. That's
So
right.
we have that happening internationally in July. Every Thursday, which is today, we meet with a group of women around the world and do this work right now. Because
Mhm.
you can go to Bali in any beautiful spiritual place, but you can also go to right where your butt is right now and
Mhm.
get started, which is what we do. So we welcome you. The doors of our sacred circle are open for those who are aligned to this work. So come on
Yes,
in,
we
goddess,
welcome you
come on
all.
in.
So
Mm-hmm.
I am the Moon Mama. I am the founder at Follow the Sun. And I teach women how to use the moon cycles to harness their power, to remember who they are through anchoring, through reprogramming our subconscious in a really fun, magical way. The work is challenging and revealing and magical. So, and I also am a coach. I use astrology, people's natal charts to help coach them into who they are really meant to be at this time on the planet. And the reason why I do this work is because we're having such a big shift right now. And many of us just need a little bit of direction. We just need a little bit of nudging. We need a little bit of light to come out of our old patterns and old ways of being and into our new. And that is what I am up to. I co-facilitate Goddess Gathering with Adina. Like she said, we're going to be going to Bali. In July is sold out. Like this is an amazing thing. It's just a profound thing that we're doing. Um, so there's just so much to what I do, and I love doing it. And one of the things is also this podcast and
Yes.
having these intimate conversations that allow us to show ourselves, like show our own journey, our own process, but then that also can help you resonate with what's going on for you in your life and how you can make it personal to yourself. So I'm happy to be here today.
Yes. That feels so
Yeah.
good. So,
Yes.
Mama, tell us what's happening with the moon and the universe right now that it can guide our conversation.
Yeah, so there is so much happening astrologically right now. I want to speak about a couple of things, but the most basic thing is that the sun is in Pisces. And the sun in Pisces is the energy when we can really tap into our spiritual power. And Pisces is the invisible, it's the unseen. It's what you can feel but you can't see. And sometimes it's so subtle you can't even feel it depending on how dense your energy is, right? So while the sun is in Pisces, Mercury is in Pisces, um, Venus is coming to Pisces if it's not here already, and and then Mars is going to be coming to Pisces. So what this energy is doing, it's inviting us to strengthen our spiritual power, to
Mm.
understand that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience and not physical beings having a spiritual experience, like really tapping in to the spiritual essence of our own selves. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's happening right now. We are in the energy. We are about to have a new moon in Pisces, and then we're going to have a full moon eclipse in Libra, and then a new moon eclipse in Aries. So if your relationships are feeling intense right now, it is because you are being invited to get in alignment with your own integrity. If we
Mm.
are not in integrity with ourselves, then we cannot be in integrity with another. And being in integrity with yourself means understanding how you are meant to function, Understanding how your energy works, right? Like I like to, we have these iPhones, but I have an iPhone. I use it for how I use it, but I don't know really the half of what it can do. Honestly, I don't. And the reason I don't know the half of what it can do is because I've not taken the time to understand it, to get clear about what it's capable of. That's how we are about ourselves. Most of us don't know what we are capable of. And this Piscean energy and these nodal eclipses are inviting us to come into alignment and agreement with our own individual selves, and then begin to understand yourself so you can know how you can best be with another person, so that you're not
Ashe.
just running off of conditions and what your grandmama said and what they said and what the world says, and you actually are functioning in the way that you're meant to function and made to function. So that's what the astrology is doing, is offering us right now. The question is, how is it showing up in your life?
Ashe.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Thank
You're
you. That lines up
welcome.
so perfectly with our topic today.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about this whole thing of being a good girl. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I was raised up by the church like we were, and the grandmama had my little bobby socks folded down and my dress right at my knees, and close your legs and be quiet and seen and not heard, greased up with the Vaseline and all that kind of thing. But what was given to me, and as I'm sitting here on this podcast now, I'm sitting across from my shrine, my ancestor shrine. It's a big picture of my grandma smiling at me. So
That's
she
hilarious.
raised me. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because she's looking at me like, yes, I did raise me
Yeah.
to be a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about that, when you think about the word good and the duality of good and bad,
Mm-hmm.
how we've really been trained, like there's no in between. It's just good and bad. And you want to be good and you don't want to be bad. And you
Right.
want to be a good girl. And what that meant, what that internalized was really a set of conditions. What you just said, conditions running. It really didn't give you an opportunity from those teachings to understand you, whoever you are, like all the functions of your technology, your
Mm-hmm.
iPhone. You're much more complex and fabulous than the iPhone. You're
Yes.
much more complex than whatever the greatest technology you have,
Yeah.
your fancy Tesla car or your whatever
Mm-hmm.
sound system. They ain't got shit on
Yes.
you. And especially the melanated woman who created everything. Hello.
Yes.
So having the permission, giving yourself the permission to put good and quote unquote bad aside
Mm-hmm.
and just understand what you just said, the integrity of who you are and what that
Yes.
is, how you have to dismantle the good girl piece to even have the permission to explore that.
Yes.
What do you
It's
think?
Well, the good girl thing is so fascinating to me because, my grandmother was a Christian and my mother was a prostitute. So,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like how, like in my mind, it was like, um, I don't want to be like my mother, and I actually didn't want to be like my grandmother either, which is
Mm-hmm.
what the thing that I was aware of. It's very interesting. As I was thinking about us having this conversation, I was asking myself, what does it feel like to just be the villain? Like
Mm-hmm.
to really be the villain, right? Because this good girl energy is like goes along to get along,
Yeah.
and always performing,
Yeah.
and really working to the crowd, always like working to the eyes that are watching you, because of the feedback that comes when you are doing what people want you to do. And so I've known in my own life, like the areas. So for me, like when I was young, like I've always said, I talked a lot. Like I could see what other people couldn't see, but I didn't know that other people couldn't see it. So I would say it, and then I would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made me bad. So then I started really working on not saying the things that I saw, which ultimately made me a liar, honestly. So not saying the things that I saw made me a liar, which then put me in conflict with my own integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And the internal battle of that, the internal battle of feeling unlovable, feeling unworthy, feeling like, if I'm myself, people won't approve of me, feeling like, if I say what I really see, then that's going to get me in trouble. Like really. So literally I went to war with myself, you know?
I think many of us are at war with ourselves until you stop and start asking these questions.
Yes.
It's just the training sets up war with yourself. It just
Yes.
does.
It totally does. And um, so I just have been aware of those internal battles of knowing what's true, knowing that if I say what's true, or even address what's true, or even ask a question about what's really true, simple things like, how come we have to praise Jesus? Like, how come I
Mhm.
need a Lord and Savior?
Mhm.
There would be a punishment for
Mhm.
those kinds of curiosities, those kinds of awarenesses. I will be punished for it, right?
Right.
So as a 50-something-year-old woman, I'm still undoing that stuff. I'm still getting to the place of not feeling responsible for other people's feelings because I know something or see something. Like, I am not going to deny myself. I'm not going to deny my own needs because I feel bad about how you're going to feel. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it's a very subtle thing. And for me, it's just been really learning how to stand up in
Yeah.
myself and for myself. How to
Yeah.
say that doesn't serve me. That
Yes.
that doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel good to me to act like this is going on when I know something else is going on. It doesn't
Mhm.
feel good to me to hold lies to support people in behaviors that don't serve any of us, right?
Right.
It's always been a thing of like, do I have the courage? Do I have the courage
Right.
to be true to myself? Or am I going to fold for the sake of everyone else's um, love? Or
Yes.
and it's not even love. It's really approval.
Right. I love what you said because what I know from my good girl training, and I'm still undoing it too as a
Mhm.
50 something year old woman, is that being beholden to the good girl archetype put me out of touch with my feelings.
Yeah.
Because, so when you said, does that feel good to me? I couldn't even answer if it felt good to me because I had to push my feelings aside
Hmm.
to hold myself into an archetype. I remember having a conversation with you, and this was just us, and I was in an emotion about something, so I was crying about something, and I was like, I don't want to be mean, like
Hmm.
and and you were like, what are you talking about? Like, but I was really crying, and it was little Adina. I was really like, but I don't. People were mean to me, and I don't want to be mean to people, that kind of thing. And you were like, you're in judgment, like just let's be in like the no judgment view of it, and let's just go to base on, and I can't remember exactly what we were talking about. Let's just go to base on where you are right now, not
Hmm.
call it good or bad or mean or any of this, and feel where you're at.
Hmm.
And that was like a quantum shift, like, fuck, where am I at? I am thinking about, I'm truly playing a tape from Lil Adina's feelings being hurt and trying not to create that. And that's great and admirable. But where the fuck am I?
Yes.
I wasn't even considering me at all in any of that. I
Yes.
just didn't want to do what was done. And I understand that. So in order for me to carry light, I have to know, like my light is up under the bed in a bag in the back behind my shoebox. It's like,
Right.
I got to dig that out first
Right.
so that I can shine it in the way that I want, rather than just holding on to, I'm proper. My bobby socks are folded properly. I have, grease on my knees,
Yes.
that
Yes.
piece, that piece.
Yes.
And
Yes.
being a good girl doesn't give you the permission or the courage
Yes.
to go in under the bed behind the box and pull your ass out. You know,
Yes.
that
That's right.
conversation was like, Adina, okay, okay, what feels good to you? You can ask yourself that
Yes.
so you can get it.
Absolutely. It's so profound because, what I heard you say was somebody was mean to you and it made you feel bad. So you just didn't want to create that for other people,
Correct.
right?
It was still other centered.
Right. It's still centered in others. Like you still skipped over, I feel bad. Like what did that person, what did they do that made you feel bad, right? And then what did I feel bad about? And was there any truth in it? What was actually going on that
Right.
really struck me down and has me functioning from the perspective of like a 5-year-old?
Yeah.
Because at 5 years old, I decided that's mean and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just arrest my own development, right?
Yes. Still not get myself from under the bed in the back. I have to do that first. I can't
Yes,
skip steps.
that's
I have to
right.
do that first.
That's right.
And
That's
people
right.
will make whatever judgments about whatever you're doing when you're self-centered. People are going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So I can't guide my steps around what people are thinking. I have to guide myself from a self-centered place. That's
Yes.
what that conversation did for me. I got off the phone with you. I was like, oh, okay, where, that kind of thing. Like,
Mhm.
it made me curious. It got me
Yes.
curious. And I took that into meditation, took that into my clearing, took that
Yes.
into my up level,
Yes.
these concentric levels of up leveling.
Yes.
So, I'm like, if I have to identify with it, I'm still good. Even if someone might not see it, it's not about someone.
Yeah.
I know that at the core of me, I am good and bad and all of it,
Yes.
And
Yes.
so the fuck what?
Yes.
I am still having the ability to bloom. Like the flower doesn't ask, can she bloom?
That's
She
right.
just does.
And
She just fucking does.
And the lily uses the mud and
Mhm.
the dirt and
Mhm.
the garbage to
Yes.
become its purest self, right?
Yeah.
So this blooming happens in the fullness of our experience. It
Yes.
comes with all that we love and think that we appreciate, right? Because we need to love it all, right? But all that we want and all that we don't want, all of that makes us up to be who we are. I remember once I had this experience. I used to work at this company, and the man that I worked for, like, I loved him. He was like my papa. He really was. And he was a married man. I was working for a church. He was a married man, and he had like 30 girlfriends.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot. It was a lot. And everybody in the community knew it, but nobody said it.
Okay.
Everybody knew that this man was doing his thing, and nobody said it.
Mhm.
And he was lovable. That was the other part. He was
Mhm.
charming as fuck. He was lovable.
Mhm.
He was the life of the party, right? So
Mhm.
you know those kind of like
He was
big energy, right?
magnetic. Everybody
Right.
loved him. Mhm.
That's right. And so it's something happened in the company where they were like, okay, where the person who was running the company was like, I'm coming to interview everyone. Like something was going on. And she's like, I'm going to interview everyone at the company privately so I can get to the bottom of this. And I determined that I was not going to lie, that I was going to tell everything I knew. And it was like it was really threatening because I was not going to be the good girl. I was not going to keep the secret. I was not, because here's the thing, it wasn't a secret anyway. Everybody knew it. Everybody
Right.
was talking about it behind, you know what I mean? So when I was asked the questions, I said, "Yes, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening." And the fallout of that was this man was so angry with me. Like he was so angry because I had to report to his supervisor what was going on, and then his supervisor didn't tell him who said it. She just told him what was said. So all he knew was that he had a whole staff and somebody had said it.
Mhm.
But he didn't know who had said it. So casually, he came to me and was like, somebody told on me, right? And I think it's this person over there. And so I was like, fuck, this bitch told him what was said, but didn't tell him who said it. And now he's trying to figure out who said it. And now he's about to go after my friend and make her life miserable. So I had a choice to make. I was like, fuck.
Mhm.
Like, what am I gonna do? So it took me, I had to go home and think about it. I was like, let me am I going to have the courage to say, I said it? And when I went back the next day and went to his office and closed the door and said it was me, it wasn't her, he roared at me. He literally like, girl, my hair was blowing back. Tears was rolling down. He was so angry and I was shaking, right? And he said, how dare you betray me? And in my tears, I said, if you didn't do this, I would not have had to betray you.
Mhm.
If
But was it a
you were,
betrayal? All it was is not keeping his
but
lie. I chose not to
he
lie.
held it as a betrayal. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
He held it that I was loyal to him.
Okay.
And I was like, if you weren't doing what you were
Mm-hmm.
doing, none of
Mm-hmm.
this would have happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was that. And that was me. I was when I decided not to be
Mm-hmm.
the good girl. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was in my 30s. I was like, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up losing his job and
Mm-hmm.
all that sort of stuff. And so be it. And here I am today, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is an experience that I have had around like, do I have the courage to
Mm-hmm.
really be myself and not
That
be the
part.
good girl?
That part is a motherfucker. That's a real question to take into yourself and look at what does it take to be courageous. You
Yeah.
know, it's not slaying the real dragon, it's you as and what are you going to do when you're standing against somebody who's going to roar like that? What are you going to do? You're going to tuck your tail and let your girl take the fall, or are you woman enough, man enough to
Mhm.
stand in your truth? That's the only
Yes.
truth that matters, your truth. Like, no, she asked me and I said, boom. If that wasn't the case, it wasn't the case, but you made it the case. So,
Right. I
like it
did
or
not
lump it.
tell a lie. I did not tell a lie. Right.
Mm-mm,
And
mm-mm.
and and later, maybe a week or so later, he came to me and he apologized and he said, Monique, I want to really apologize to you because if I was not doing that, he said it. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have put you in that position. You
Well,
wouldn't have been
that's
in that
beautiful.
position
A
if it
week?
wasn't for me.
He was pretty quick. I would
Yeah,
think
he
years
was.
later, but 7 days was all it
No.
took.
He got it. Because everything it was all around. Like I mean, it doesn't matter why, right? Like I'm so grateful because I really love this man, and we got to continue our
Oh,
relationship because
beautiful. Okay.
he loved me enough to take responsibility for it. But this
Okay.
was something that had been going on for
Wow.
years. For
Wow.
years, and it was a very interesting thing. So and there are still ways that I'm still learning to be myself. You hear me say with you where I'm like, I have this way of being with my girlfriends where I'm just like the cheerleader, and it seems like I'm in agreement with everything, and I've started learning now to say, oh, that's interesting, that's not where I stand with that, right? Like not just being the go along to get along in my girlfriend relationships, being like really being true to myself in my most intimate girlfriend. And that has been hard, Adina,
Yeah.
like to really be able to say like, like one of the things that I experience with women as a woman and with women is that we are very sort of addicted to romantic relationships.
Mm-hmm.
We are all of our energy is going to men.
Yeah.
And once I caught myself doing that, I was like, I'm just curious who I would be if I really fucking was devoted to myself.
Right. Right. Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what is possible if I wasn't using my time to think about what he wants or what
Mhm.
he said or what he needs or when I'm gonna get a new one or how that felt or this is if I was what would be if I was really focused in my system in my body, what would be possible? And that has been what I have been devoting myself to now, and not being in experiences where I just pick up other people's energy and then I'm just going in their direction because that's what they're doing. I don't want to do
That's
that no more.
that's a very courageous way to think. You know, you and I were talking about that, and I told you it reminded me of the Wonder Woman movie, how it was a society of just powerful women and how they did. And you're like, I just got finished watching that. Now, me as a married woman and a woman surrounded by men, you know, I have three boys and whatnot.
Yeah.
I have a different perspective, and that's great. You know, that we
Yes,
have our
yes.
different perspectives. But even inside the container that I'm in, how can I be in the container that I'm in and still be me centered? That for me is a not a struggle, but my divine work
Yes.
is centering myself inside my container. And I've chosen to be in this container, and that's my
Yes.
choice. And it's different ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yet and still how I was trained, or the good girl training, didn't even have me as a consideration. You know, as a mother, we talk about this all the time. Like, take care of yourself, put yourself on your list. Initially, I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I didn't even know how to, like, I'm on the list. Like, I get to, you know, like I'm just some kind of, I don't want to say slave, but hired help, but that don't get no pay, or the pay is, you know, room and board. Like what?
You're hired help for the people you created.
That's what it felt like to, and I love them. Don't get it
Yes, yes,
twisted.
yes.
And it comes from raising kids. I have three sons who are grown now, thank goodness. But that experience takes you as a Cancer mother,
Yeah,
because you know I'm the mother of the mother of the
that's right.
mother,
You are the mother
and
of the mother of the mothers,
the
girl.
mother
With
of
a
the mother of the
Capricorn
mother
moon.
with a Capricorn moon. Literally, I give it all. Like, and I tell my sons now, everything, every good thing I possibly could give you, I've given you. And I know that for
Yeah,
sure. And that's how I can stand in my freedom now, because I
yeah,
know I gave y'all everything I could. When I was supposed to focus on you, y'all had 200% of my focus, 300, whatever percent I could muster, you had it. But
yeah,
now turning that in me and asking myself these questions feels really good, because I'm mothering myself
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
And this good girl construct is being taken down one sock at a time. Like at one time, I was called a goody two shoes, and then I was a goody one shoe because I threw one shoe away. Now I'm a goody barefoot, you know, or now I'm just goody. Hello, all of it's good, you know, and it's bad. That's the fun part. I
Yes,
get to be whoever I
yes.
decide.
Yes. It's so incredible to be able to embrace our villain, right? So if we're
Mhm.
gonna be a good girl, then there also is a villain also, right? And I am how I have begun to really embrace the villain, right? Or
Mhm.
just the language is looking at the circumstances in my life that I feel are not ideal.
Mhm.
But understanding that I'm the creator of it. I
Right.
created all this shit, right? So I have created all of these things because, and how is it I know because it's my story in my head. I'm the person saying, I don't like this experience. This experience is not preferable to me. I'm the one that is the creator of the reality. It's there
Right.
because I generated it, right? So when I start to look at the things, like for instance, when I was in my experience and with my ex-husband, I really used to feel that everything he did was against me. I really
Mhm.
did. I heard myself one day and I was like, every thought I would have about him was like, why is he doing that? And how come he does that? And he shouldn't do that. And like, it was all that. And so one day I just stood in it and I was like, just stand here and ask yourself, why would you bring somebody into your life where you feel like everything they do is against you? What's
Right.
the reason for that?
What is that?
And I just sat with that shit for
Wow.
months. And what I realized, I saw it, I was like, oh, I learn from hard things. Like
Mm.
his energy motivates me to do what I know I need to do to become myself. Like I need it to be hard. I
Mhm.
need a negative story. I need a villain in my story to get me to act. Once I saw that, I was like, okay, God bless him. We done with that.
Mhm. We
We
done
done
with
with the
that.
villain. I don't need that anymore. I can
Mhm.
learn in other ways. But I never went to him and made him wrong. I literally embraced it so that I could see it fully for what it was. And realize, because what was going on is like I felt like he was being mean, and then I was always trying to placate to him and not really being myself. And here's how it worked out so simply. It was so simple. One day he called me, he said, I need you to do such and such and such and such and such at this time. And typically I would just go, okay, because that's just, it's okay, right? And
Mhm.
then I looked at it and I was like, oh, I can't do it. I didn't, not in the conversation, but I thought about it. I was like, oh, if I do this when he wants me to do it, it's going to interrupt my whole day, my work day. I can't do that. Like, for the first time,
You said
I
no.
placed my own needs ahead of his desire.
What did he do?
And he accepted it.
Oh.
He accepted it because it was right, but it wasn't malicious. It was organic. It was natural, and it worked out in a different way. It worked out in a way where I still get to do what I need to do, and what needed to get happen gets taken care of. It's just not being taken care of by me in the way that he wanted me to do it.
Right.
And it took me really looking at the nature of my relationship with him and how I was perceiving it, the story I was telling, the way that I was making him the villain in my story. So everything that he came to me with felt like an attack. And
Mhm.
once I stopped that by taking responsibility for it, then I was able to function like just two normal people.
Wow.
Like, okay, cool.
Wow.
I can't do
I'm
that. I
so
can't do that.
surprised that he wasn't like a raw, like the man, the boss
He
man. He wasn't like that. He
wasn't.
just accepted it.
He
I
was.
think sometimes us stuck in this good girl paradigm are thinking that we can't, or again, it takes the courage.
Yeah.
Like you had the courage just to shift it in that little thing. It was like, oh, and you had two experiences. You had the top of the mountain raw, and you stood
Yes.
there and took it and survived. And then you had the okay, and he just found another way.
Yes.
Uh, it
But
it,
I was
it
a
can
part
be.
of him finding
Oh,
another
you
way. Like I
were
was
okay.
a part of the solution
Mm-hmm.
as well. Like I
Mm-hmm.
talked to someone else who could help us, right? I
Okay.
didn't just push it back on him. I made it so that it worked, right?
Nice,
Yes.
nice,
Yes.
nice, nice, nice.
So this is a very interesting thing. And so in this Piscean energy, let me just bring it back to this. Pisces is that energy where because it's spiritual, because it's unseen, because it's, the realm that we don't know, it's water, we often will just, have you ever said yes to something and then you get there and you're like, what the fuck did I say yes to?
Because I think yes was always the first word on my mouth,
Yes.
like yes comes out first. Whereas now at least I will
Yeah.
pause, but yes is like, yeah, I want the, but you're right. It's like, oh shit.
Right. So Pisces is the season where you need to really learn how to presence yourself,
Okay.
because otherwise you'll be taken away. Like Pisces is not having boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, people, boundaries are not about other people.
Right.
Boundaries are about you. Boundaries about where are you putting your focus, right? So it's not about creating a boundary for this person. I'm creating a boundary for me so that I will stay focused in what really matters to me. So we have to really understand what we're up to for real, right? Like what's your mission or purpose? If you don't understand, your mission or purpose could be love, right? Your mission or purpose could be healing or joy or fun, or right? But then you are invited to something that isn't about love, and if you say yes to it unconsciously, then you are putting yourself in an environment that really isn't aligned with you. And that's what setting boundaries is about. That's what this Piscean energy is about. It's like really understand where you begin and where you end. What are your codes? What works for you? What doesn't work for you? What are the gray areas, right? Like what I can do a little bit of this, but I can't do too much, right? Like I can have somebody spend 2 nights in my house, but if they spend 3 nights in my house and they smoke cigarettes, by the third night I'm gonna be smoking cigarettes with them. So you can stay here for 2 nights because I know me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important for us to know where we begin, and most of us don't know
Right.
ourselves. So because we don't know ourselves, we don't have boundaries for ourselves.
And that's the good girl conditioning. We were put in a good girl box of someone
Mhm.
else's boundaries of where we could expand and not expand and sit and
Right.
talk and laugh. we're getting out of that box
Yes.
and finding our own boundaries for ourselves and our lifetime, and are curious about what we're up to. This is what a life well lived is about.
Mhm.
This is how you could be a billionaire and still be worldly depressed and very unhappy because you're thinking that that's the answer to it, but it's not.
That's right. It's
You could
not.
be in Soweto in a little corrugated shack and have pure joy and enlightenment because you know it's not bound by any of these man-made things.
Yes.
It's not.
That's right. It's not.
Mhm.
So this conversation, I think this conversation is really valuable for people, period, but especially for women. And, and even it's something that we have to begin to teach our children,
Mhm.
so that they understand like that. I think that's sort of the greatest challenge is that as children, I didn't have any sovereignty over myself, right? Like
Mhm.
as a child, I didn't believe that I belonged to myself,
Mhm.
that my body was my body, my mind is my mind. I wasn't taught that. So I thought that I belonged to
Yeah.
everybody. And so
Yeah.
I had to say yes. And I've been learning recently, like, things come to me and I'm like, am I a yes for this? Like, what will this, if I say yes to this, what is it going to cost me? What will this yes cost me? And what will a no cost me? What will a maybe cost me? Right? Like really understanding ourselves and understanding ourselves through our own lens.
That part,
Right.
through your own lens. And it takes some time, and it takes
Mhm.
some pulling in, and
Yes.
it takes some courage,
Yes.
and then it takes some insight, which we all have. We just need to take the time to devote our energy inwardly.
Yes.
It's a
That's right.
beautiful thing. It
That's
really
right.
is.
The solitude has been the
Mm.
key. Like I do believe, like, I'm a conservationist, so my energy works differently than yours because and everybody's energy works the way it does. So that's what you got to know, right? So I need solitude, right? And everybody needs a little bit of solitude, but you have a family and you have people that are around you all the time, and so there's still a way to source what we're talking about, even if you're in a tribe.
That's right. That's right. Whereas my energy, I'm a visionary mind, and visionary minds are the fairy. They're all over the place. They're flitting
Hmm.
here, they're doing that. And you can definitely see that in my
Yeah,
energy. But just
that's
as I'm flitting here and flitting that, I have to do it in a way that doesn't compromise me.
hmm
And so that's what I've been learning. It's like I can be expansive, but in terms of knowing my own boundaries, knowing when something is for me and it's not. Like if it's for me, it gives me energy. It feeds
hmm
me. If
hmm
it's not, it depletes and I don't feel that excitement and that joy.
Yes,
And
yes,
so it's really trusting what that subtle small voice inside is saying, giving that person, little Adina, listening. I'm getting
yes,
curious and I'm listening. And that is sweet. That is
yes.
that is so sweet.
Oh,
That is so sweet.
isn't it amazing to be able to hear the voice inside
Yes, it
and
is.
how pure it is and how the direction is always fucking on point?
Mm-hmm.
That
It's like, okay,
is,
you could listen or you could go off not listening. You want to listen to the directions or you just want to go.
yes, 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 yes. It's so interesting. And I am so in love with this understanding that I'm the creator of everything because, or believing that, or living in that understanding because everything then gives me power, even if it's stuff
Mhm.
that would deplete my power. When I know, like, oh, I'm the creator of this. What's really going on here?
Mhm.
What's really at the crux of this? Um, and I've been really in the last, like, really working to release my attachments to my external behaviors. And this is what they show
Mhm.
up like. They show up like when I'm like in desperation, I can overshop. Like I can become somebody who just needs something all the time. Right? Oh, somebody mentions a book. Okay, let me go buy that book. Oh, I need some jeans. Let me just go buy a pair of jeans. Oh, and now everything is a touch on the phone, right? So I'm just like,
Mhm.
and what I've started seeing, like that's just me it's like a slot machine, like
Mhm.
just using it to feel good or to feel something. And I noticed that and I'm like, oh, this is an attachment, this is an addiction. So let me just get in my body and source that feeling that I'm looking for without buying something or
Right.
without
Right.
eating something. And
We were talking about that last night, the restless feeling. As I was eating some junk food, I said, well, I'm eating mine right now. You're
yes,
like, I hear you.
yes, but it's
Mhm,
a thing. It's like a
mhm,
and I have that too. You
mhm.
know what I mean? And I've been being very strategic with myself this month because the sun is going through my rising sign.
Okay,
So I'm really recoding my identity
okay.
and watching it. Like I've been wanting to buy a pair of jeans for like 2 months, and I'm like, you really don't need any jeans. You have
Hmm.
everything.
Okay,
You just want the jeans.
right.
Like just be with that you just want jeans. Okay, I just
Hmm.
want jeans. And don't go buy them. Okay.
Okay,
I'm not
okay,
gonna
okay.
right?
This conversation could go on for a while because it touches everything.
Yes.
The way you see yourself and the way you attach it. Like we didn't even get into the conversations about worthiness and love and
Hmm.
how you feel that either you're worthy or not worthy based upon whether you see yourself as good or bad. That's a
Hmm.
whole nother unleveling or blooming of the thing because you
Yes.
know that your worth is unchangeable. You are always worthy and you
That's
are
right.
loved. You can't be left out. You can't really be mean. All you can do is get to another greater level of love. That's already there because you are. You are that.
Hmm. That's really powerful. One of the things that I can appreciate at where I am in this level of the work is that all the behaviors and patterns and boundaries that I have set for myself have set me up to have a deeper experience of intimacy and love with myself and others.
That's beautiful.
Because I'm
That's beautiful.
honest now,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
can see clearly I'm myself, and that just deepens the love. It just deepens it. And I'm
That's sure.
learning how to do that even better. I'm learning how to be more accepting of myself and others.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the good girl, the good boy. Although in our culture, the bad boy, I think, is
Celebrated.
yeah, yeah, celebrated more.
Yeah.
It's celebrated like the bad boy gets some, and so that's a whole nother conversation. But for
Yeah.
ladies in this good girl conversation, get curious. That's what I'll say. Get curious with yourself. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What would you say that would be helpful for someone who is just really asking themselves, where the fuck am I?
Mm.
Where am I in this? What would you offer
I,
them?
I would say, um, I would say begin to look at your family structure and like look at it from a neutral perspective and see what you were taught. You
Right.
know what I mean? Just like start asking yourself, why do I think this? Why do I feel this? Why? Like ask
Mhm.
why. And then when you feel ready, book a natal chart reading with me and I'm gonna sit down with you and help you get clear on why. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then when you're ready to do the work, come join Goddess Gathering so we can
There we
help
are.
you, assist you to create the environment for you to begin to really reorchestrate your internal energy system towards
Yeah.
yourself.
This is the key to having the most productive incarnation this lifetime,
Hmm.
doing this work.
Hmm.
If you're not doing this work, you're just a minion. You're just a cog in the machine's wheel.
Hmm.
You're just you're just a bobblehead. And no judgment.
Yeah.
It's just saying you're in the pod still.
You're
But when you
unconscious.
start to unconscious,
Yeah.
exactly. So when you start to do this work, your life literally becomes your own and
Hmm.
your journey starts. Your journey
Yeah.
starts for you. And the happiness that you feel is not attached to anything. It's not attached to any external condition. The joy, the purpose, and not purpose from, oh, what am I here to do? But just
Hmm.
be. Sometimes your
Yeah.
purpose is just to fucking be and be
Right.
okay with that. It's not
That's right.
about
Be
the
yourself.
be yourself. It ain't about the
The
corporate
purpose
ladder.
is to be
Be
yourself.
yourself, but who is yourself?
That's
That
right.
part.
That's
So
right.
this is what we do. Getting
Mhm.
into the who is yourself, and that changes too. Who is yourself today, and then tomorrow, and the next day, and so on and so on and
That's
so
right.
on. But you become part of the collective light in this quantum grid, rather
Yes.
than just existing. So that's
Yes.
what we're doing.
That
That's what
is
we're
what
up
we're
to.
up to.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to Bali,
Mm-hmm.
and we're so excited. We
We're
will keep you
so
guys
excited.
posted on our next trip that we have coming up. The Goddess Gathering is tonight if you'd like to join, where it's $77 a month. We meet every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Um, And we are assisting women in waking up to their true power, their gifts,
Mhm.
their magic.
Yeah.
We believe in
Yeah.
magic, y'all. We know that it's
Yes.
real and
Yes.
it's inside of you. And all those narratives are blocking it. All those people pleasing
Stories.
are blocking it. All that shit that somebody told you you needed to be or that you couldn't be is blocking it. There is magic in you.
There's
You are
magic.
a
There's abundance.
magical person. That's
Yes.
right. Hi,
True abundance.
James. James just came. Hey, James. James
Hi,
is my hiking
James. We
partner.
done now, James. You're gonna have to
James
see the
is my
replay,
friend.
baby.
James is my friend, and we hike together. He's my
Nice.
brother. Yeah. So, hey,
Nice.
James.
Do
So,
we
anyway,
want to
anything
see if
else, Nina?
anyone had any comments? You want to read through any of those?
I didn't see any comment. Did I see? I did see
Okay.
one. It says, Naomi said, I feel that, but I don't know what we were saying when she said, I feel that.
Okay.
Feel that. And then Sankofa session says, oh my God, Capricorn moon, I feel so seen. Yes, that's right. Let
Hey.
me tell you, that Capricorn moon, let me tell you, people with Capricorn moons are funny as fuck. That's the thing that I see in my friends who have Capricorn moons, the humor, the level of funny is just
We got jokes. I'm here all week. I'm here for these jokes.
y'all are very funny. It's great. And the best mothers, the best mothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, thank you.
All right, everyone. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of this light journey with us.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate the darkness
Yes.
and we love the light. It all works together for good.
Yes, it does. Peace and blessings,
Awesome.
everyone.
Peace and
Talk to you later.
blessing.
Bye bye.
Bye.